Since we moved into this row house here in Fredericia, we have wanted to get rid of the tile terrace that we inherited. It came with the house and it was really great for a really long time. Our son would ride his bike out here, he would ride the scooter. We really enjoyed having that space. But as we've lived here for several years, the way we've used this outside space has really changed. If you remember, we got rid of the trampoline because our son outgrew that. He's now way too big to ride his big bike out here on the terrace. So it's time for a really big garden project. And that garden project was to completely get rid of the terrace and find a way to connect the garden even more, bring it even closer to us, and really warm this space up. And that's what we would like to show you today. So the biggest change is probably what I'm standing on right now. We built a wooden deck. It's a floating deck that we built directly on top of the tiles because we still need a space. It's beautiful sunshine here in Denmark today. We have wonderfully long days all summer and we spend a lot of time outdoors. This is where we're going to have our table, our chairs, our umbrella. This is where we're going to spend lunches on our days off, dinners late into the evening with family and friends. So this wooden terrace we're going to use a lot. We built it by ourselves. It was the first floating deck that we ever built. The advantage of a floating deck was that we could build it directly on top of the tiles. We don't have to connect it to the house, build any sort of foundation. We leveled it off and we used the tiles that were here as the base. We stained it a nice teak wood color and that really sort of warms the space up. The next project that we took on, if we'll come this way. So if you remember our original paths, or the paths that we made last year, they stopped right here in line with this building. So this work shed here was where, here I'll walk the line. This is where our paths began. So everything in front of me and the terrace, the deck that Lars is standing on now, was all these sort of gray concrete tiles. What we did was we extended it. We used these big stones that we've laid to sort of border everything out. We just removed the tiles, dug it out, and we built a new flower bed so we could extend this one. We did the same thing over here in the shade. This is where we've always had pots because this part of our garden always gets shade. It doesn't get any sun, even in the morning. So this is going to be our new shade garden. I know it's really small, but it's as much space as we could devote to it. We're going to have hostas, maybe some astilbas in there. We did the same thing. Here we had to completely remove the tiles so we could access, so the plants have more roots, obviously, or a longer distance for the roots to travel. We put these nice stones in, really extended everything forward. We also built a new flower bed over here next to the lavender and the wisteria. We did the same. We had to completely sort of reshape this area. We extended it, dug everything out. So this is where the flower bed stopped, right here with this geum and this ajuga. This was the end, but now we have this much more flower bed here in front of our deck. And then we have a whole new flower bed, ta-da, here in front of our lavender and in front of the wisteria. As deep as my hand are these stones. So what we're guessing, keep in mind that this house is over 100 years old. So what we're guessing is that maybe this back area used to have this as sort of a terrace or patio. Back in the day, before we bought the house and before the owners before us bought the house, there was actually a small building here that soldiers used to use. A little quick history of Fredericia, there's a whole wall around the city. So long ago, soldiers used to have these little places here in the town that they could come and this is where they would take a rest. And our house had one of those buildings. And I bet where our work shed is now, that's where that building was. And chances are out here in this patio area was a whole patio of stone that we were not expecting. We knew we often find it hidden. When we took down the hedge, it was hidden everywhere. So we know it's been here. We just didn't realize we would see it today. So it's buried under here. We need to remove quite a few of them. Some of them are a little bit higher. But we're finding a whole little pathway of these stones. So that's what we will do. Now, we're going to move the lavender, make sure that they're not sort of that one straight row. We don't have anything that's in a big straight row here, so I don't know why we have that. We're going to separate those. We're still going to leave some of the pots here and there because it gives a nice height. But getting this planted in is what we're up to today, and we could really use some help. So why don't we bring you along? I'll give Lars a microphone so he can join in, and we'll get this new flower bed planted in today. And I totally forgot. One of the biggest things that we did was we added gravel. This is the same gravel that we have up on the paths. We really wanted to connect it all the way down. It's just white granite, really pretty. It's really bright. We've had some people on Instagram say that, or one person that follows Lars mentioned that the white paths weren't very pretty, but we don't really care. We like it. And you have to remember that this country is really dark in the winter, and when the moonlight, any type of light hits this white path, it gives us a lot of light in the winter, or a lot of brightness rather in the winter. So we like it. So we've extended it all the way down. Under here, we didn't remove the tiles. Not true. We removed them here and there to help with drainage, but we actually have a building inspector who lives across the street, and he agreed that leaving the tiles on here was completely fine. Fortunately, everything has been built quite high. So there was a gap here so our doors can still open. So really, for quite minimal work, we were able to have a big, huge impact. And then of course the floating deck, the white gravel all around, the new flowers. We think it's just going to be an incredible place to sit, to enjoy. When we're in our sun porch there, we look out and the garden starts right away, instead of before, the garden didn't start until here. So you had all of that concrete to walk around before you even saw life. Not anymore. Now life starts right at the back door, and we could not be more excited. So now that I don't think I forgot anything. If so, I'll bring it back in. But now it's time to plant. We must. So let's get started on that.
This is what I love. Fun part begins.
And this soil under here, obviously, because there were tiles, it's really quite sandy. There's a lot of sand under here. There was a weed carpet that we had to remove as well. We had a big delivery. Lars works with a great supplier, and it's 100% natural, ecological, jordforbedring, so earth improvement. A lot of horse manure is in here, a lot of stuff that gives structure and support to your soil. We've also mixed it with just some regular old topsoil that we've blended in.
And turned it in. It's really has a nice fluffy texture to it now.
Yeah. Doesn't smell as bad as you would think. A whole ton actually of horse manure we've added. We also moved a whole ton of these white stones. So lots of tonnage. But now it's time to get planting. And what's going in here, Lars?
So we have actually some from some hostas here that we have divided. We used a spade and just, we had some in pots last autumn that really had grown too big in the pot. So we just took it out, just were really rough with it with a spade and divided in like, I think 4 different groups, and stored them here in these containers until they're ready. So the plan is here we will have different kind of foliage. Some will really striking, almost dark green.
That's
then
beautiful.
Some lighter ones. Maybe I should just show them.
Yeah, show us real quick.
So here we have some other ones, as you can see, with this white line around, and another one super pretty we have here. So they will have like really different kinds, all hostas, and mixed with some astilbe to have a different kind of foliage as well. And that will give a pop of color, because mainly they do get a flower, but hostas we mainly have because of the foliage, because it's really super pretty. And then in autumn we leave it for a very long time because they will change color, get this autumn, yeah, really beautiful burnt colors as well on the foliage. So we actually just took this out of the pot, and as you can see, it really thrived in the pot, has really strong, nice roots, and it's already having side shoots here, so it's in great condition. And now we just kind of, before we plant them, we kind of play around with the placing where we want. Instead of later on you have to move some of them, so play a little bit around in the beginning, rather move it 2 times than 1 time, not enough. So we place around with that, and then we have all these different shades, in foliage in the hosta, and then we have this beautiful astilbe as a great contrast. And these ones actually we grown from bare roots that we got, and we had them in a small pot in here, and then we just, some of them just placed them directly in these pots, and they have grown really quickly from these bare roots. Okay, so we finished this middle flower bed here, and it's perennials. We didn't go out and buy any, we had them in the garden. Some divided, some from cuttings, from seeds.
Yeah, we took one of the lavender. We mentioned that we have them all lined up over against that wall. So we went ahead and moved one over here. This spot right now, it's 7 o'clock at night, but usually this spot will get full sun for most of the day. We added some sedum here that we took from cuttings last year.
Some sassafrage over here that'll just, the goal is that it'll just spread out here. And doesn't have to have a root. You can just, the rosette here, like the foliage kind of underneath, just break it off, keep it watered, then it will root here very quickly.
We moved some of the violas that we had in another pot. That was a pot that also had one of the hostas. So we put some of those here just for some color really quickly.
We have some primula here that has an upright stem.
It's a very nice one.
Really
yeah.
pretty, this one. And then right next to it will be some Allium millennium, really low growing one. We'll have green foliage for a very long time and have balls of tiny, tiny Allium.
Yeah.
So that'll be really nice. And then some violas here.
Yeah, and this is a nice light blue color. So this one's done. It looks like it's always been here. We just had dinner up in the top back there, and really it looks like it's always been here. We absolutely love it. We have one more flower bed to do, but first we need to go shopping
in the greenhouse.
in the greenhouse for some plants to put in there. Let's do that.
Okay, so we are in the greenhouse shopping, and the first thing I go for is of course the lupins.
What color is that one?
That's a pink one.
So a pink lupin. I'm going to go for some liachas. How many do you think? 2? We have quite a lot of space over there.
I think we should do at least 3. Like uneven number, 3 to 5 is really great. So that's up to you.
It's up to me, but he wants me to do 3 to 5. So we will do 3. We also have some lavender that we're going to move. Some of those that are already over there. Some of the things that were in the pots also have to come out.
And we need to have in mind something perennials that will also, like the other, like cottage style theme flower throughout the whole year. Okay, so let's do some helleborus, Malatsi. Okay.
And we have more lupins. I've already told Lars we can't have just a flower bed full of lupins.
We'll just have 2 colors.
Right, Malatsi. So what was the other color that you grabbed? A white one. Well, now you're grabbing another, Lars.
No, but it's pinks and whites.
This is what Danes do when they're nervous.
Oh wow!
They start to
Pinks
stumble.
and whites. Oh, just pinks and whites. That's fine. Okay, so we have some summer anemone, liatris, helleborus, lupins, which we love. What else do we have, Malatsi?
We can't do anything too tall. So the digitalis, for example, is too tall.
Calendula, some summer flowers would be nice.
That could be nice, yeah. We also have those small zinnias. Where are they?
We can put those in too. They're here still.
Down here.
Here?
Oh, we haven't potted them on.
No.
Are they big enough?
Yes.
Or do we need to wait?
No, these are fine. I'll put them on.
Okay, let's get some of those.
Okay.
Why don't we start with what we have, guys,
that.
and then we can see what we got, shall we?
Good idea.
So we have a few things to try to space out. We're also working around with the idea of these old pots that we have. If you remember, we had them spreading out, sort of standing out, around the rosemary over there. We had them over here. So we're playing around with what we want in them. Do we still want them in this new flower bed? We know we want something like this. This is a small lilac. We know we want it out of the pot. We have the purus over there. We have 2 of those. The other one we moved over there.
Yeah, it's over here. So
Yeah,
the idea is that we take it out of the pot and place it right in the garden, actually.
It's a beautiful foliage right here at the, now it's turning this yellow whitish color, but at the beginning, end of winter, early part of spring, it's a really bright red. So it's a great color at that time of year. We also have this pot that we had hostas in, but we took the hostas out, put them over there. And then we want to bring in some lavender. What I'm worried about is this lavender was sitting in really poor soil for a long time, because that's what it needs. It needs that great drainage. So it was sand, it was rocks, it was pebbles, but now we've really improved the soil. So we're gonna have to find a way to keep those lavender from just
We talked about mixing some gravel in, some sand, really give them this poor soil back.
Yeah, that
And
great
then-
drainage.
Yeah.
Or also put them in pots. We can also do that.
We talked about that too. So we will start to place some of the things from the greenhouse out, play around with placing, and also repeat it in the flower bed here, and also some stilbe up here, talking about sunny and shady
Yeah,
area.
because this part, it gets morning sun. This part of the garden gets morning sun, but not so much in the late afternoon from around lunch until you can see here in the evening, it doesn't get so much. So that's great. I think it'll do well there. And this is also part of our garden that you've never seen before because we always show it quite quickly. We show the wisteria because we're proud of that, but otherwise we zoom right on into the garden. But now we have so much more to play with and so much more to figure out. But
And the idea is that because over here we have lavender really like as almost like a hedge. It's like a Thumbelina low growing one, but we want to mix it up, have it in groups and dig some out, and like Ellen said, put some in pots, but break it up so it's not like this straight row of lavender.
yeah. All right, so let's
So-
start moving some of those and figure out so we can go and take that out. Okay, it's getting a little bit late in the evening. It's 9 o'clock at night. It's time for bed, right, buddy? So it's time for bed. We've gotten half of this flower bed done. We want to show you really quickly what we've planted so far.
And it looks so great.
It's going to be incredible.
If
Talk
I may
us through
say
it,
so.
Lars. What we got? We added
Okay,
a-
so we moved all, as you can see now, we can really see we have lamps over there that comes on.
Yeah, those are solar powered, or they come on when it gets dark. So here in the summer, not so much, but in the winter, they're on from like 3 in the afternoon.
Right, move that a little bit. Okay, so here in the back, you barely can see it. It's Liatris over here that'll have a good height. We have some Helleborus here. We have some sedum. We have some just violas here. We moved all the lavender. It will be like a kind of a group over there, and then it will be repeated here. So we're really close to the terrace. You can smell it here, and then it will be repeated further down. We have some Brunera macifolia, the Jack Frost one. We have some zinnias grown from seeds. We have some perennial grass, fountain grass here that really cascade over the terrace as well. We have some calendula. We have Agilai, the Danish name. We have a stilbe, and then we have also the Pires that we planted directly in the ground there, and some, my favorite, lupins.
Right, and then we left some of the lavender back there in the back.
That's true.
If you guys, you can't hear the bee inside this rosemary. My goodness, they are going at it tonight. So that's where we are now. We've also taken some of the lavender, we've moved them up. You can see there's some that we're going to put here in this part of the new bed. We've also moved one up under our cherry tree.
And here we have some, leave the pots here with the Fredericia in. So kind of leave this display with some pop of color here. Didn't need to do some deadheading, I can see.
Yeah.
So really get those. And this, in Danish called bitterrod. It's actually a summer flower. I just kept it in our unheated greenhouse. And the trick is it doesn't like to be really wet. So I just tilted like this. And it stayed, it didn't water it one single time in the greenhouse. And note, it wasn't heated at all. In spring, I just lifted it up and took it outside. It started to flower again. It's really beautiful.
Exactly.
The leaves down here, I think I took it out from the greenhouse too early. It got a bunch of not so pretty leaves started once. We tried and remove the foliage there. I hope it'll
Yeah, we
come
had a
back.
really bad frost.
And yeah.
You can't tell it now as we're out in t-shirts and shorts, but I think that's what got it. But we trimmed those off, so it'll be fine. We have some other pots back here that we can fill up with annuals once we decide. Yeah, once we really get a handle on this. So
Yeah.
that's where we are so far. This is our new garden project.
Oh, and did you see looks nice with the host over there too?
Yes, I showed that. So we're going to clean this up, finish this flower bed, and you guys can see what all we decided to plant in our
And
next garden tour.
We might just do like Melazzi tomorrow, just lay flat on the terrace. So we did it. It has been 3 days of this garden transformation. Last things we wanted to do, tying in the garden more with the terrace instead of this stone terrace we have. We need a little bit more, but this is what we accomplished after 3 days. We did the wooden terrace, we did all the white stones here, we did a hosta bed over there, extended that one, and over here we made a new great flower bed with mixed perennials. We'll have pots with summer flowers in, and now we're just gonna see it grow and enjoy.